Welcome to another episode of Future Institute's Future Talks segment. Future Talks is a monthly podcast organized and hosted by Future Institute, a nonprofit organization committed to growing student success and building a better society. Each month, you'll hear from one of our stakeholders, either graduates, program participants, board members, sponsors, supporters, or community members. I'm your host, Cengiz Karatas, Executive Director of Future Institute. Today, our guest is Mr. David Nissen, CEO and President of Mueller, a certified public accounting and financial advisory firm. Welcome, David.
Thanks for having me today, Cengiz.
Can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Well, I'm really a boring person in the big picture, but I've been at Mueller since for 41 years. This is my only job, so I guess I'm not going to give you a lot of stories about other places I've worked because this is the only place I've been. But it's been a good career, great career actually for me, and maybe I could talk to you a little bit about that and the kind of the firm and the organization.
I think 41 years is quite a great story. and according to the Daily Herald Business Ledger this past month that I read, Mueller has been announced as one of the best places to work in Illinois. I believe it's 11 years in a row. Congratulations.
Well, that actually, I always tell my partners, I mean, that's probably my favorite accomplishment is the 11 years in a row of best places to work. And I remember when we first did it 11 years ago, I was scared. I'm thinking, oh, what? I hope we at least do okay, and we did it. And I remember my marketing director at the time said, Dave, what you should do is go tell everybody that they should give you high marks. Like go walk around and almost tell them how they should score. And I go, I don't want to do that. I want to make it legitimate. I want to earn the award the right way. So we sent it out and we just want to be sure people, were able to answer the questions honestly and openly. And it was good. And there was a couple things we saw in there, Cengiz, that we really felt was something we needed to give a little more focus to, like tuition reimbursement program. They were thinking we didn't have one, but we have a tuition reimbursement program. We just never communicated it. So, after you communicate it, it worked out. It was better, and I think communication, Cengiz, and if I had to think about leadership, that's like one of the most critical components of successful leadership is to communicate effectively to your team.
Exactly. I believe leadership matters, and starting everybody off on the right foot paves the way for successful development with the company. And it speaks volume about the type of leadership you have at your company. I would like to know a little bit more about the culture at Mueller. Can you tell a little bit about what it is and what is important to you?
I will, and again, I'm sorry, I'm so passionate about this stuff, Cengiz. Like I can't help myself because I remember, I'm going to tell you a story. I mean, I tell stories because it's the only way I can get my points across sometimes. But we had a Lutheran pastor's wife as one of my employees. We're probably talking 25 years ago. And I remember being in church on a Sunday with my family. And I remember being distracted. I wasn't listening to the pastor at all. Like I in my head, I was thinking about, I got 25 years ago, I've got 4 kids, growing kids. And it's like, I was thinking, how am I going to pay for this? How am I going to pay for that? What am I going to do? And it was so much financial in my head, I wasn't listening to the pastor. So I remember going back and I was thinking about that. And I was probably thinking everybody in the pews were probably thinking the same thing. They're probably not even listening to the pastor because they got their heads all cluttered with financial issues, in their families. So I remember going back and I talked to her. I go, our job is more important than your husband's. And she goes, what are you talking about? He's a Lutheran pastor. I go, yeah, but if we don't do our job, your husband won't be able to do his job, And so we came back with like almost a mission statement at that point. We said, We assist clients in lifetime success. And that's kind of when you think about it, we help clients with lifetime success. And I think accountants and financial people are so critical in that, because if you don't know where you're at, you don't know where you're going, So I think lifetime success is important. So that's kind of the underlying thing. We try to help people with their lifetime success. And go ahead, Cengiz.
I think that's a great point. There are always obstacles in the pathway to success for any business. And when a business can view these obstacles as an opportunity, this creates an environment of excellence and sustainability.
It's totally true. And then now recently we've come up with a value statement now that we felt was like, our firm's been around since 1968. So we've been around for 53 years. So that's a long time. And so we started thinking, what's our values of our organization? And we came up with the acronym PRIDE. We thought not only we're proud and we're prideful of Mueller, but every one of those letters in the word pride is very important in our values. So we have the P is proactive. We want to be proactive to our clients. We don't want to wait for the phone to ring. We have to be proactive. Respect is the R. We have to have respect for our clients and every one of our team members, Cengiz. Like everybody here is the same in my mind in our organization. So we have to have respect, and the I is inspire. We have to be inspirational. One of the things I got to tell you, Cengiz, like people think, I hate to tell people what I do when I'm at a cocktail party. Say, what do you do, Dave? I'm thinking, well, I'm going to try not to put you to sleep, but I'm a CPA. It's like, people think, oh, this is boring, but it's inspirational, because it is inspirational because of what I told you before. We help people with their lifetime success, and the D is dedication. We're dedicated. We're dedicated to the mission of helping people all the time. And then the last is E, which is enthusiasm. And that's fun. We have fun at Mueller. We have things like the snack cart. I push a snack cart around. That's fun. During Christmas time, we have Santa Cow, because we have Mueller. Mueller is our mascot, Mueller the cow. Mm-hmm. And so I got Santa Cow walks around with me, and we hand out bonus checks, Mm-hmm. So it's really fun. So, I mean, I guess if you really look about what makes us successful, it's really, we love helping people become successful. And we also have our value statement that we think about all the time.
I follow Mueller's LinkedIn posts and your LinkedIn posts as well. And I often see that your staff is recognized, staff accomplishments are recognized. You have staff appreciation lunches, go out for baseball games and have team sports. And recently I saw you have ladies golf day, like yep. Empowering women is essential in workplace, and not only workplace, but it is essential to the health and social development of families and communities. I see that you value and appreciate employees and their backgrounds and experiences and talents. That's really amazing. And actually it's aligned with all your mission and everything. You actually put things into action. And I think, as they say, leadership is the capacity to translate vision into reality, and it's evident at Mueller. But I'd like to also, as you mentioned, you'd like to help out the community. I'd like to talk about community leadership. Do you believe it is important for business leaders to be community leaders? Can you share more about how you and Mueller support your community?
Oh, I think it's critical. It's critical. I back again story, like I actually grew up in a town called Elmwood Park, which is a suburb of Chicago, near west suburb of Chicago. But I moved out here when I started at Mueller. I kind of moved out to the Elgin area. Didn't even know where Elgin was. I was here when I was 11 years old. My mom took us out on the train, but came out here. And I remember told my wife, I go, we have to move to Elgin. And she goes, why is that? I go, because I have to go to the grocery store and I have to run into my clients. Like, I think it's important to shop in the area that you're working in and get to meet people and see people. So I think that's critical. And then back early in my earlier days, I was a Rotarian I had 13 years perfect attendance. I know that. So, and I was the chairman of the board, for a while, the president. And, I think giving back is critical, to anything you do. So I think we try to be very involved with boards, like I was on the board of the Elgin Chamber of Commerce for years, and a Rotary Club, like I said, and we have everybody here. We want them to be part of service clubs, Kiwanis or Rotary. So that's something that's very important is giving back to the community. Can I go back to what you had talked, Cengiz, about women and really diversity? And I want to maybe we could touch on that. Sometimes people don't like to talk about certain things, but back probably about 10 years ago, we did a vision statement for Mueller. And one of the things we put in there is we wanted to be more of an inclusive environment. We wanted to be inclusive. And, I think unless you think about it, it's hard you almost have to put things down in writing to become a reality. You can't just hope, and hope isn't a strategy, So we said we want to be more inclusive. And I think since we put that in our vision statement, we've been very focused on trying to be more inclusive. Now, you're talking about women, females make up over half of our organization. I mean, if you take the accounting profession in general, over 50% of the graduates are females. So they're very big in this. So we very focus on promoting an organization that will everybody could flourish. If they're men, male, female, no matter what, I think that's very important. And the reason why I've gotten to really like you and your organization is because you do work with sometimes individuals that are maybe going to struggle to get to where they need to be. And we need these people. I mean, that's the whole thing. We have a labor shortage, Cengiz. We can't get people right now. So I think it's really important for us to be sure we convey that to you, and you can convey it to some of the people that you're working with, that this is what's great about United States in the US. It's the world of opportunity, land of opportunity. If somebody puts their mind to it, they could do anything in life. And I think that's a very important comment to make. And just needs, I was a solid B student, Cengiz. I was not top of my class, solid B, wasn't an A student. I actually, when I interviewed back in the day in 1980, there was big 8 firms. There was 8 of them. Now there's 4. I interviewed with all of them. They gave me rejection letters, every one of them, because my GPA was not 3.65. It was like 3.05. And so Mueller, I got an offer from Mueller, and I got an offer from another firm in Des Plaines, but I took Mueller because they looked beyond the grade point average. And now I'm CEO, I guess kind of a living example that you could do anything in America if you put your mind to it, and so I guess I just want to be sure some of the people that you're dealing with, they understand hard work and determination is really the critical, and work ethic. Once you have that, the world it's yours.
Exactly. I think you really made some powerful, you gave powerful message when you talk about the diversity. I think diversity is a treasure, to have, respecting the different perspectives and ideas of each individual, and believe that everyone can reach their full potential. That's extremely important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, I guess, sometimes people just are just naive, of things. But being diversified and diversity is such a gift, because that's what makes America. That's really, when you think about it, isn't that America when you think about it? Because we have everybody is brought together from all parts of the world in the United States. That's what makes us strong. And sometimes the thing that makes us stronger, the thing that people fight about. And it's like, it drives me crazy because of the fact that the diversity and the diverse people we have in this country is what makes us strong. And yet people, they still try to fight on that stuff. And that's not going to happen in Mueller, that's for sure. That's not going to happen here under my watch, Cengiz.
Right. A business's community involvement affects positive change and gives people a sense of purpose. Bring the community together and enrich lives. If this is the mindset of each and every business leader, it definitely starts a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Do you have any advice to share with business and community leaders out there?
Well, I think the main thing right now, and I'm just saying, we're coming out out of the pandemic now. And the first thing I'm going to say is congratulations to all business leaders and owners, because of the fact you made it. We made it, like we got through this thing that hopefully we'll never have to deal with in our lives. But we made it. Congratulations. And so now, as we come out of it, the world is going to look a little different. There's going to be more working from home, more, everything's different, and I'm embracing it. I'm embracing the change. You probably saw it on some of my LinkedIn posts, because the ones that adapt quicker to the new world is the better it's going to be. So I guess that's the one thing I would say to business leaders and community leaders is just adapt, change. Adapt to the new world. And we don't know what it's going to look like yet, but it's new. It'll be different, and don't embrace it. Embrace change. It's interesting. There was a article I got from the Harvard Business Review. It was the late 90s. It was like 1997, 1998. It was leading change. It talked about that, and it was in late 90s, but you could do it in late 90s. It could be 2021, but they had 8 steps to change. And the very first item, they say you have to go in order. So it starts with 1. You can't go to 2 until you get 1 done. But the first one was there has to be a sense of urgency. Okay. Without a sense of urgency, nobody's going to change, Cengiz. Like, no one's going to change. Why would you change if it's not urgent? Like, people would be rather like stay in their cushy environment. But right now, the pandemic has given us all a sense of urgency, hasn't it? And yes, people need to embrace it and be willing to change. If they don't, they won't be successful.
I think you brought up a great point. It reminded me JFK's quote. He says that change is necessary. Those who only look to the past or the present are certain to miss the future. So it's definitely a great point. And when we talk about future, I want to talk about our youth as well. They are the faces of our future. In your experience, what are some of the challenges that the youth is going through today, and how can we empower them?
That's a really good question, because, everyone, and I'm in all these leaders, conferences, and millennials, young people, they got 1 foot out of the organization is the time they start, and I'm a very optimistic person, Cengiz. So I don't like hearing all that stuff, but I think it goes back to a book that I read called The Ultimate Gift. And The Ultimate Gift is a really good book, easy read, and it talks about the 10 qualities that someone needed to have to get the ultimate gift. And the ultimate gift is to really have a successful and an enjoyable life. And you know what the very first gift was that there's a story about this young man that had to go through. He was a spoiled rich kid, and he had to learn the reality of things. And the very first gift was he had to learn a work ethic, Cengiz. And I know you well enough to know your parents taught you a work ethic. Without a work, that's the best gift you could ever get. So I guess you asked a question. Sometimes it takes me some time to answer it. But young people have to have a work ethic. If you have a work ethic, you could do anything in life. And so I think it doesn't matter if they're working from home or as long as they have a work ethic and they have to, and I always told this to my kids, I got 4 of them, like I said. I always told them, I go, guys, like, if you want to make a lot of money in life, work your butt off.
Right.
Work your butt off. Nobody makes money. You could look at anybody in history. They didn't make money by just sitting on their butts. They worked. And sometimes you worked before you made the money, but you had to make the investment. So that's what I would tell young people.
Sure. Yeah, I think it's a great message. As you know, when you look at the glass, it's either half empty or half full. I think in reality, it's the same thing, but the way you approach things, you are either part of the problem or the solution. So where you stand, how you work, and your work ethic, persistence, resilience, then at the end, it determines, where you're headed.
Yeah.
I also appreciate Mueller's, Alfred Mueller scholarship, that you are giving scholarships and offering internships. I think that's a great way to make students feel supported, especially in their time of need. It also gives the motivation to work even harder to excel in college. Can you tell a little bit about your programs?
Yeah, the program is good. Al Mueller, he started this in 1968, and it was really, we really admired him. I worked for Al, and so I think we wanted to, with the Cougars, the Kane County Cougars, which is kind of a staple in the suburbs here. We give away 5 $1,500 scholarships, and on July 8th, we're going to recognize those 5. We have a Al Mueller scholarship night. And so we just think that youth, it all starts with the youth, Cengiz. Like, it all starts with the youth. You need the youth. And so Al would have liked, he had passed probably maybe 7 or 8 years ago. So he never was there for it, but his daughter comes to the event, and it's a recognition that Al would have really loved providing scholarships to some young people.
That's wonderful, really. Now I'd like to ask you about your involvement. You mentioned a little bit, but I'd like to learn more about your involvement with Future Institute, and what is your motivation to support organizations like Future Institute?
Well, I kind of hit on it a little bit. Like, I love that you're working with young people that are sometimes might have some difficulties in getting the path, or getting to the right people, and I think that I've been talking to a lot of people about that, and when I met you, it's really it was an important thing, because I think sometimes we have to start younger to get young people on the right track. I guess that's the thing. What I like about your organization is you help young people get on the track. And sometimes if you can't help them, sometimes they'll never get on the track, Cengiz. Maybe one of your young people will work at Mueller someday, like I'm hoping for future employees, I guess. So that's kind of my hope, is that, maybe we could help some young people. You could help them through our financial support to get some people on the track sooner.
Yeah, I want to point out that at the time of pandemic, your kind act of generosity eased our financial concerns, and we could support our students' education. And as you know, Brandon Hollenbeck, who's an advisor at financial advisor at Mueller. He's been hosting financial skills workshop for the past 2 years for our college program, students in our college program. And the workshops are very engaging and productive. He's amazing. I think Mueller is giving back to his community in many ways and being an inspiration. I think it's very important when our students see that there are the organizations like yourself, leaders like yourself out there really supporting, offering support. That means a lot.
Yeah. Oh, it's we want to do that. So I'd love to hear those words. It's great.
How do you recommend we offer better support to our students to help them become better members and leaders of their community?
I would say I don't know. I don't know if I have an answer for you on that, but I think continue what you're doing right now, and I guess just continue to give them the message that there's a lot of companies like Mueller out there that would love to have good young people join their teams, and there's a lot of opportunity. That labor shortage is going to be a problem we're going to have for a long time. So anybody, like I said, who's on the right track, who's got a work ethic, companies like Mueller will hire them all day long. So a lot of opportunity for young people. I guess that's the thing. Keep them motivated that there's opportunity out there, Cengiz.
Yeah, as per a CNN business article, manufacturing is 36% short of people right now. The demand is skyrocketing by, American factories can't find enough people to the work.
Yeah.
That itself is an example. But leaders like yourself set positive examples to be in the front so that others can see and follow in that direction. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Would you like to share any final remarks with our listeners?
I would just say thank you for having me on this podcast. I love talking about our firm. I love talking about young people. I love talking about the future. And no, I would just say I want to just reiterate my point is give the individuals that you're servicing, give them the message. There's huge opportunity for them, huge opportunity, more than ever before in the world. Just keep focused, keep positive, and good things will happen to them. Good things will happen to them. And I do appreciate you having me on today, Cengiz.
Thank you again, David. It was a pleasure speaking with you today. And I want to thank our listeners as well. Hopefully you enjoyed this segment and continue to follow our monthly Future Talks. To learn more about Future Institute, visit futureinstitute.us and follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn at MyFutureUS.